I want to ask everybody to go ahead and review the minutes because we're going to ask for approval in a moment. Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to call the meeting to order at 11:44. And I want to welcome everybody for being here with us today. Do we have anyone new to SHAC here? Okay, if you don't mind standing and just kind of introducing yourself to us. Okay, awesome. Oh, welcome and thank you for coming. Anyone else? She was Marvin? Oh, awesome. Well, I know we were very lucky to have Chris with us and everything. Chris and I worked together on a couple of projects in Crime Stoppers. And so congratulations, Chris, and welcome to WISD. All right. Anybody else? All right. So have y'all had the opportunity to look over the minutes from our last meeting? And yes, ma'am. That's okay. Okay. All right. Any other notations that we need to make? So it is correct? Okay. All right. So can I get a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting? Okay, so Becky, do I have a second? Okay. Y'all, somebody's going to have to give me a name. Okay, that's that. All right. And are we all in favor? Say aye. Aye. All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's see. All right, so we have a presentation that's going to be coming in at noon. We'll go ahead and kind of move along at the moment, but when they come in, Care Solis is going to come in and do a presentation for us. It's who? Oh, it's a virtual. Oh, it's a virtual. Oh, gotcha. Okay. All right, so we'll kind of watch. Since it's behind me, y'all may have to give me a heads up. Okay. So we'll go ahead and start with our updates. Reach Council wanted to kind of just bring your attention. We've got the prom pop-up event that's going to be coming up Monday and Tuesday. I put some extra little posters out front if you have a business or something, or if you know somebody that might be wanting to attend prom and could use some free prom attire. We do have lots of dresses for the young ladies, and we do actually have some suits still. We're still trying to get a few more donations of suits, but so this is for the girls and the guys. It'll be Monday and Tuesday at the Waxahachie Civic Center from 3:30 to 7:30. And I've got my contact information if you have any questions or would like to make a donation towards the event. I'm still taking prom dresses and suits. And it's not, we listed juniors and seniors, but if we've got some, underclassmen that are actually going to be attending prom, they are more than welcome to come out as well. We do have a little education piece that we're asking the students to participate in, so they get to visit different tables. We have the DEA that's going to come in. They're going to have a booth that talks about their One Pill Can Kill campaign in regards to fentanyl, so they could choose that. We have healthy relationships tables, so there's some activities that they can do there. We have our alcohol and marijuana goggles, so they'll be able to play some games. One person is impaired and one is not. So anyhow, a lot of fun activities for them to participate in, and then they get to go shopping. And then I also wanted to mention that the prescription drug take-back event is going to be coming up on Saturday, April the 22nd. So if you have any expired or unused medications that you would like to safely dispose of, we are in the process of getting our location. We're hoping to be at the Coleman Junior High again, but we've got to lock all that in still. But that is all I have for Reach Council updates. So now I'm going to turn it over to Josh for the WISD security update.
Do I get to stay here or do I have to come up there? Okay. One of the things that I think is really important for everybody in here to understand, especially when it comes to student health stuff, we've heard throughout the years about fentanyl and kind of the effects that it's having throughout the nation. I think it's important to note that we here in Waxahachie particular had our first fentanyl overdose and our first fentanyl death. So there were actually 2 overdoses. One of those individuals ended up passing away as a result of it. So it's here. It's on our doorstep. It's here in Waxahachie. What's also really sad and something we need to really work on educating our students about is they thought they were taking a different drug, Percocet, but we know that the people that manufacture these things can make these pills look like anything they want them to. So the individuals that took these drugs didn't realize they were taking fentanyl. They thought they were taking something else and ended up, tragically, one of them lost their lives from it. So it's here and it's real, and I think it's something we need to be aware of.
I just want to clarify that, is it students
both of the individuals involved with this, I believe, were juvenile age. One adult and one juvenile, so.
Tom?
I was just going to mention that at Reach Council, we do a specific counterfeit pill presentation about raising awareness specific to that, because that is to be a free common thing. So
Yeah.
if schools are interested, reach out to me every time to share it, and we're happy to work something out. So.
And we also do the naloxone training, so we would be happy to have, do a presentation on that as well. We do currently have some of the naloxone, so if you are in need of one, please let us know on that. I did want to kind of comment that in a training that we did recently, it's 6 out of 10 pills now that students get their hands on, or let me rephrase it. 6 out of 10 pills that are being tested now all have been contaminated with fentanyl. And in a training that I went to just recently, in Washington, they were talking about, a lot of the legalization of marijuana has, caused a loss in money for the cartels. And so they found that fentanyl is so much cheaper. And so they are lacing everything, and these kids, are getting their hands on what they think might be an Adderall from a friend and not knowing for sure where that may have come from. It could very easily have been contaminated with fentanyl. And typically, if a kid was to get a pill off of the internet, which is what they do, all of our kids have access to drugs constantly with their cell phones. And so, it's important that we have our conversations with our kids to let them know just how, dangerous it is. And as the campaign that the DEA is doing is one pill can kill. And we're kind of shifting a little bit, on saying just fentanyl overdose, because a lot of these kids are trying a pill for the first time, and unfortunately, it's taken some lives. And so they're kind of changing the phrasing now. And this is, I guess, due to a lot of parents that have lost their kids. They're calling it fentanyl poisonings now. And because somebody tried something for the first time, and unfortunately, it did take their life. But it's very important, if you're not familiar with naloxone, just know that if somebody is experiencing an overdose and you have the naloxone on hand, that could easily save a person's life and allow time for emergency medical, people to come in and monitor them. And I will say that even though somebody does get the naloxone, it's important that they are monitored, because how it works is it removes the opioid receptors, and it could easily go back into an overdose, within 30 minutes to an hour. So just kind of keep that in mind. And again, if you have any questions about that, please get with us on it. Anything else, Josh? Nope. That's got it? All right. Thank you so very much. All right. We've got Ginger that's going to come and give us a counseling update.
Here in just a minute, we're going to have Care Solace pop on. I was fortunate to see them at a conference that I attended at the end of January, and hear a presentation about the mental health services that they provide for school districts. We have several neighboring school districts around us that use Care Solace. Of course, you guys know we have several mental health supports. We are very fortunate to have them in Waxahachie. This is one more that will umbrella and encompass our entire community, because it is for staff, students, and students' families. So if we were to choose to go with Care Solace, it's something that everybody can benefit from, so it kind of is not just our students. And so we're going to have a presentation from them. She's going to Zoom us in and kind of share with you all. Now, it's not something that we need a vote from SHAC, but it's something that I just wanted to present to you all so that you'll know, kind of just have another idea of another layer we're providing in Waxahachie. I presented it to my counselors yesterday, and they asked how quickly can we get it. So it is very, I think you'll agree when you see the presentation. It's just something that is just another layer of support that we can provide. I was just talking to Josh just 10, 15 minutes ago. Our mental health issues in our district are on the rise. It is fortunate that we have Next Step, who can help our students. As we've talked about, Mind Above Matter will be starting in August, and we hope to bring that final presentation to you in April after we present to the school board of what Mind Above Matter will be able to do and how we can start that in August. So our mental health needs are on the rise. We want to be able to be on the proactive side of things so that we can help all of our students and our staff and their families as well. So as soon as she turns that on. Yep.
Okay, Melissa, do you want to come and give the WISD health update? Oh, we're connecting. Hold that thought.
Oh, she won't, okay. Join with computer on?
Recording in progress.
Is that right? Uh-huh. There. Can you, I don't
Hi
think you
there.
can see me, is that right? I don't think you can see us.
I cannot see you.
Okay, all right, but Janine, we can see you. I kind of
Perfect.
just gave a little introduction about Care Solace and how I met you at TASA, and just was fortunate to get to hear about your company. And so if you could share with our SHAC, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And just so that I'm mindful of your time and your agenda today, how much time fits in for this? I want to make sure that I'm respectful of that, because I know I'm kind of squeezing into your agenda.
You take as long as you need. The presentation you gave
Perfect.
to me,
Perfect.
the
Well, I'll probably
15,
just
20 minutes.
about
Yeah.
20.
Okay. Can I turn it up?
Perfect, perfect. Well, I'll probably only take about 20 minutes of your time to kind of walk through this. And I appreciate you kind of squeezing me in, like I said, so that I can have the opportunity to share a little bit more of the information with you all that I was able to share with Ginger when I met with her recently. So I'll just kind of jump in and provide a little bit of information about Care Solace and who we are and what we're really all about. And then I'll do a very brief live demo to show you what it looks like for your families and students, as well as your staff, and how that works for them, and how the service actually supports your school community. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, and just kind of as a little bit of an introduction to Care Solace, to kind of fill you in on really what we're all about and why we really exist. Care Solace really is a mental health care mission-driven company. Really just wanting to provide families with a hand to hold. And ultimately, if anybody there has ever tried to navigate the mental health care system, you know how difficult it really can be. And it truly presents a lot of barriers for families. And a lot of times when a family realizes that they need help, they don't even know where to start, and they just don't even know how to find that resource. And it's just not clear to families who takes their insurance, who speaks their language, who is available in their area, what kind of services do they provide. So really, Care Solace is to help provide some clarity around that and ultimately help families navigate those barriers. Insurance is one of the biggest barriers that families encounter when they're trying to navigate the system. And we can help with that by verifying insurance for families, verifying copays, and helping them understand who actually takes their insurance. And then the other big one out there that we all know exists is the long wait times to get into services, which average across the country are anywhere from 3 weeks up to 3 months, just for that initial intake appointment. So Care Solace really can help with that. We've been able to kind of circumvent those wait times and often get families into care within 1 to 2 weeks. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go through this. I shared this with Ginger. I share this with everyone. This is a personal thing for me. I live and breathe mental health every day as a mama. My boys are now 17 and 19. Both of them have struggled, one with substance abuse and the other with mental health. And back in the day when my now 19-year-old started struggling, I didn't have Care Solace. So full circle, I do understand the impact that it can have. And this is a blessing to do this work, to be able to help families like mine. And really, like I said, our goal is to be the handholder for these families, really be their champion and be their advocate in the process as they're trying to, again, navigate what is a very difficult system. So we just want to be that empathetic handholder for them to really help them ultimately get connected to services when they need them. A little bit about us. This is already outdated. We are in over 650 school districts across the country. Over 15 million staff, family members, students have touched our service since 2017. And I think it's important to point out that Care Solace serves more than just pathways to individual therapy. We have, in fact, 47% of the support interactions that we have fielded are for pathways more intensive, such as outpatient programs, residential treatment programs, medical detox. So really going beyond the scope of what is what are school-based services, and really beyond that scope of even individual therapy. Typically, when we work with a family, it takes an average of 50 to 60 phone calls just to find that provider that has that availability for a family. And realistically, we know that a lot of the times families, if left to do this on their own, they tend to give up on the process somewhere along the way. And we really just want to make sure that that doesn't happen. So we do that legwork for them. And when working with our families within the first handful of days, we come back to them with at least 2 to 3 options of providers that have availability of an appointment for them, ideally, again, within that 1 to 2 week time frame. At the same time, we are going to support your staff. So mental health care teams at the district, counselors, social workers, psychologists, all of those folks right on that front line who are doing this hard work every day. We can really collaborate with those teams and take some of that heavy lift off of them when it comes to coordinating care for wraparound services in the community. We can really take on that heavy lift for them and help do that work. Ultimately, again, our goal is to connect families no matter their circumstances. So whether or not they have insurance, no matter what language they speak, no matter where they're located. Those are all things that we can work with for families and ultimately expedite the process to get them connected. Important for me to share that when we partner with you, we do not touch your school-based services at all. We have nothing to do with your MTSS and the investment that you've made there. When we partner, we really become an umbrella layer over that MTSS, acting as that action arm into the community. So again, when you have students who need wraparound supports or longer term services, now you've got to go out and find a community referral and a provider. That is again where we can collaboratively work with you to really do that legwork and ultimately help get that family connected to services. So like I said, I'm going to walk you through a live demo very briefly of the different facets of our service. We have an external facing tool that families can utilize on their own if they choose. And then there is an internal staff tool where you can actually make referrals to our team. And at the heart of all of that and supporting both of those facets are our care companion team. They are our 24/7 multilingual navigation coordination team. They are the handholders. They're the folks that really do from start to finish through the process, working with a family, verifying insurance and co-pays, making all of the calls that it takes to find that provider availability and finding those matches for families. And then they'll help book those appointments and do some follow-up with the family after the fact. So they really are the folks doing that legwork, and they are available, like I said, 24/7, nights, weekends, holidays, and summer months. On average, we field about 150,000 calls every month from families. 30% are after 5:30 p.m. So our evening hours are really crucial when families are trying to sit down and figure this stuff out. They tend to reach out to us for that additional help. And we do speak over 200 languages at Care Solace. So to kind of shift gears, and a couple of very brief live demos of the two platforms that we provide and how they work. This first is the external facing tool that I spoke about. And this essentially is a self-serve anonymous portal families can utilize on their own confidentially if they choose. We know from surveys that there are a lot of families out there that still do not want to talk to folks at the school. They don't want to ask for help, but they know they need a resource. They need to figure this out. And this gives them that confidential pathway to use on their own. So when we partner with the district, we're going to provide you with a customized URL link specific for your school community. And typically it'll get put on your district website, maybe counseling pages. And a lot of districts disseminate it monthly through your mass notification to remind families there is a resource available for them. So if I am a mom in the district and I found your URL link and because I've been searching for resources and I get to the homepage here, I'm going to get some information initially right away on how to reach out to our care companion team. And of course, we can call, text, video chat, email, by all methods, and a little bit of information about the care companion team and the processes here as well. And then more kind of videos and informational things for families who are interested in the process. So of course, that is one pathway. I can ultimately just say, okay, I'm just going to reach out for help and have the care companions really do the work for me. Or if I truly want to remain confidential, do this on my own, I can walk through this and search on my own. And essentially that will open this up into a high-level pre-screen tool that, again, families can answer a series of questions to ultimately get linked to HIPAA-compliant providers in the community who would then do the official assessment and evaluation, et cetera. So again, a series of very easy questions. This is a search for gender identity of the person in concern, age of the person in concern. Ethnicity is optional, meant to better serve. Families can decline if they so choose. And then we move into what kind of help you're looking for. And you'll see there is a mental health tab as well as addictive behaviors. Everything from alcohol, cannabis, vaping, prescription meds, et cetera here. On the mental health, of course, the alignment with the DSM-5 categories. Most common what we do see are anxiety, depression, suicidal ideation, and trauma. What type of treatment? Again, we do serve all pathways. So many families are looking for individual therapy, about 53%. But of course, they can come in here if they need an assessment or psychiatrist, outpatient programs, medical detox, et cetera, are all here. With insurance, we've integrated with every insurance in the state. So whether a family has private, HMO, PPO, whether they have Medicaid, CHIP, whether they have no insurance, all are options here. So of course we can best serve. I'm going to use your zip code at the district as a local search for us. And then the distance will expand as it needs to accordingly. And finally, are you open to see telehealth options, or do you prefer to keep it as in-person? For now, you can choose either way. Now, once I've clicked that submit button, the system is aggregating my answers for the location and the insurance and the DSM-5 that I've chosen, finding the best possible matches in the community. And you see, before I get to view my list, I get a pop-up reminder that if any time in this process, I decide I maybe don't have time to make all these calls, or I have questions, I need some help, that care companion team is available at any time to really pick up the ball and do the work for me, find the matches, and then get those options back to me. Of course, I can still do this on my own from here. And I now have a list of providers that I can reach out to, some of which you may recognize as local providers. MOU partners are already usually in our database. But you'll also notice we bring in private providers as well, in addition to state and county agencies. And we, of course, do that to add access and capacity for families and to really avoid the bottlenecks that often do exist at our state and county agencies these days. Another thing I'll point out about our provider database, none of our folks pay to be a part of the database. So we have no conflict of interest with our providers. The reason they are here is because they have gone through our verification process to ensure that they have no disciplinary action against their licensure, and they must not have a D or F rating with the Better Business Bureau. And then, of course, once I'm in this list, I can make adjustments to the mileage. I can take out the teletherapy or change the pathway and rerun searches based on what I'm looking for. So that is this external facing confidential anonymous portal. I'm going to shift gears and walk you through the internal staff tool really quickly as well, so you get a peek at that. So this is what we call our Care Loop dashboard. Our typical users of this are going to be your school counselors, any school psychs, social workers, school nurses usually have access, and principals and APs. This is what we would provide a 30-minute training on for your stakeholders. And each individual has their own secure login, so they're only going to see their own dashboard here, their own stuff here. And it serves two purposes for staff. It is where you can make a referral to the care companion team when, again, you have a kiddo that needs maybe those wraparound supports and you've got to find that community provider. And then it's where you can track the referrals in real time to know the progress being made in getting that kiddo connected to care. So I'll show you both pieces of this. We call referrals to our care companion team a warm handoff. So again, if I'm working with a kiddo, I've got to find some community supports. I can, of course, hand mom and dad some numbers, hope they get connected. I can make calls if I have time, which we know staff generally don't have extra time these days, or I can do a warm handoff. So I would come in here for a student. Now, in the state of Texas, all that's required is verbal consent from mom, dad, or legal guardian that, yes, they're willing to receive a call from your partners at Care Solace. Your schools are here. You're going to enter a first and last name of a student. You can add a preferred language. And then it's contact info for mom, dad, or legal guardian here. And really all we need is a phone number. You can add an email address if you do have it, and you can add a best time to contact. Maybe mom says, I really can't even talk until after 8 p.m. We'll call then. Another guardian can be added. The last piece is an optional where you can add some comments, and the purpose is just to provide a warm, empathetic introduction to the care companion. Legally, we cannot, nor do we collect an address, a social security, a medical assessment, IDs, nothing like that. But what we sometimes see is students struggling with a family loss, for instance. I'm going to click submit. I see we've got it. And within 15 minutes, the care companion is assigned to the family. And if I come back into my dashboard view here, now in the form of these cards, I get some visibility on what's happening. And you'll see kind of these progress notes. But if I come into the case details of these cards, I'm going to see who my care companion is and the work she's been doing for the family. And from the bottom of the page up, it is essentially a timeline of communication touch points between that care companion and that family member and potential providers. So here's my visibility into what the progress is. I see that Shelly got the case and she reached out to that guardian. She does that pre-screen to find out all that they're looking for, where they're located, etc. She starts calling providers, finds the best matches. You'll see the communication back and forth as she's coordinating the care. You'll see a note of when the appointment was made and which provider that family chose. More communication back and forth, and I think this is the most important piece. You'll see enrollment into care confirmed. And we actually do this by following up with our families the day after that scheduled appointment to confirm that they not only attended, but that they were happy with that provider that we connected them to. Now, if the family indicates that, yes, they're happy, they have another appointment, they intend to go back, we are going to do a 2-week check-in with them to check back in and make sure that they're still okay and don't need anything else. If the family indicates that maybe it wasn't the best fit and they're just not sure about that provider, we're going to offer to find an alternative, and we'll go back to square one and find another provider for the family. And all of that is logged in here, so your teams know, you all know that that family did in fact get connected to care and rolled into care. And then very last peek I'm going to give you here is the data that we do provide. And this is a district-wide snapshot as well as school site. So you'll be able to drill into your school sites as needed. And it's going to provide you information on how many communications we've saved staff, potentially emails and phone calls that mental health care teams at the district didn't have to make to coordinate care. How many families used the anonymous piece that I walked you through, answered all their questions and got appointments on their own. How many families reach out to us directly through email, phone, text, etc. And then it's broken down by gender, age, ethnicity, DSM-5 category needs for the district, top 10 insurances being used for services rendered, and top 10 providers right in your backyard, providing the most timely access for your families. And I know that was a ton of info in that 20 minutes, but that's really the high-level overview, the nuts and bolts of the service. If anybody has questions, I am more than happy to answer questions.
Anybody have questions? Anything? Laura, you might be my only counselor here today.
It sounds fabulous. It makes my job 20 times easier.
Melissa, nurses, would that help? Yeah. Anything, any questions?
I was excited to see substance abuse counseling as a part of that. So we have a drug testing program. It's random, but say a student does test positive, could we then give them, the parents, your information, and if they wish to do some sort of treatment or some sort of intervention, they could, right?
Absolutely, absolutely, definitely.
Awesome.
My SROs look good? Look like something? That we could refer our families, because I know y'all get a lot of these calls too. Okay, anything else? Becky?
So, Virginia works in our care management department. We're not obviously part of the school district, however, we do see high school students. And so is that something that we would be able to tap into as well?
So Janine, the question is from one of our local, it's called First Look. It's our Women's Resource Center here, and they do work with a lot of our students. Becky, I'm guessing that the QR code, my thought was, you and I brainstormed some ways. They'll meet with our PR team also, Care Solis will, and talk about ways that we can promote. And so even if we had just cards that we could leave with you when you get a student, they use the QR code, because the QR code, to my understanding, will be just pushed out to all of our families, our staff. Am I speaking correctly?
Yep. Yes, absolutely. So we'll provide all of that information, and you're right, and a QR code that will lead directly to being able to reach out either directly to our care companions, or even if someone prefers to use that anonymous portal that I walked you through. So it will basically provide them all the information on how to reach out to Care Solis. And we provide all kinds of messaging. We provide the QR, we provide content. So we'll be able to help with that piece of it as well. And so that you're able to spread the word to your families and school communities. Absolutely.
Was that your question, Becky?
Yes, but we would only be able to give those to WHS or WIC.
As far as I understand, for WISD families and staff.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep.
Any other questions? Yes?
So another question is, what about the students, because I'm still talking
what do you do in that situation?
Could you hear that question?
I heard the gist, and tell me if I'm wrong. So with regards, this, are you asking about if students who want mental health, want a mental health service or provider reach out to us directly without parents' consent?
Yes.
Is that?
Yep.
Okay, so absolutely, we can help them, obviously, as long as there is of the legal age to consent in the state of Texas, which I believe is 16, correct?
I don't know. Is it 18?
I think it's,
18.
I think it,
18?
Yeah, and I will say, for our scenario, if a young lady is pregnant, she can consent to certain types of medical services. So I don't know how that would apply to mental health.
yeah. Yeah, so they have to be able to, and you're right, medical as opposed to mental health are different, often different, not always, but often different ages of consent. I thought last time I researched this, the legal age to consent in Texas, and I could be wrong now, is 16. But as long as they're of the legal age to consent, if they reach out to us directly, we can absolutely help them find a provider. And typically what we do in those cases is we're looking for providers that obviously offer free or sliding scale services, because most likely that student will not be able to tap into mom and dad's insurance if mom and dad do not consent and they're not even aware. So we do help students. In the state of California, it's 12. So we've helped students 14 and 15 years old, who reach out to us directly to find those free and sliding scale services and providers. So as long as, like I said, they're of that legal age, we will absolutely can help them.
And are you guys the ones who screen that for us? Because we won't know if they're using the QR code after.
Yeah, our mental health care, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good question. In the pre-screen, that's part of our process, absolutely. And our team knows the legal age of consent for states. And so they'll be able to do that through the pre-screen process. So yeah, that's something that we, on our side of things, not only have an awareness of, but can obviously make sure that we're dealing with that student of the legal age.
Okay. Does that help?
Yeah.
EJ, you think it's something for our athletes that could help too? I know you and I talked about mental health.
No, I think it'll be beneficial. Just the side of it for athletics is they have to come within themselves to do it and not allow their teammates or anyone else to talk down to them or make them feel like they're less than because of it. So I think that's, for me on that side, like I'm obviously in the building kids up, but teammates are not always in that same business.
Right.
So it's the teammate side too that.
And I like the anonymous part of it too, that they can do it and none of, even as school people, we may never know that they choose to, but that's their own private, discussion with their family.
That part of it is really huge, that it's anonymous and no one.
Yeah, I agree. All right, anything else? Everybody good? Okay, I think that's it. Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you so much for having me and letting me squeeze into the agenda today. I really appreciate being able to share the information. And of course, we'd love to partner and support your school community. So if anybody comes up with questions after, Ginger, you can shoot them my way. But otherwise, thanks so much for the opportunity today to chat with you all.
Okay, thank you. We'll talk soon.
Sounds great. Thanks. Have a great rest of your day.
Okay, that's it for me.
Okay, so now we'll have Melissa come up and do the WISD health update.
Good afternoon now. We're so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming. I appreciate your diligence in being here. You provide a valuable addition to what we do with our kiddos, and I appreciate it a lot. In case I don't say that enough. First of all, COVID is just kind of there, not a big deal. We have a few cases each week, but not anything. 2 to 3 is about our number each week, and we're still reporting those. We don't know what will happen next year as far as what the requirements will be, but I really feel like it is very much manageable and under control. Now, if you have COVID, you may not agree, Hopefully you're not here if you have COVID. But it may not feel great if you have it, but it is a different animal than it was at the outset. So we're thankful for that. Our drug testing, just to let you know, we have had a high school session since we last met. We have not gotten those results yet, so I really don't have anything new to share with you. We still have junior high to go this month, so that will be happening soon. And next time we meet, I will have results from both of those. But it's been kind of interesting to me. I feel like we've had less positives on our drug screens, but there's a heightened concern about drug issues due to the fentanyl that's out there and the other things, and it's just kind of a scary world right now. So even though our drug testing is rocking along well and not uncovering any super horrible trends or anything like that, I have to continually remind myself that there's a large group of high-risk kiddos that are not in our testing pool. So let's just be mindful of that. We're not necessarily testing all the kids that might be at risk for this issue. So, and it's interesting to me too, we've had some refusal to test this year. That's not a common thing for us, but it has happened 2 or 3 times this year. So that's just a little interesting tidbit. So those are considered, in case you don't remember, those are considered positive when they refuse to test. And we move forward with a positive, I don't want to say punishment, because that's not what it is, but there are consequences to that positive test. So the last thing, I don't know if you guys remember, but back in the fall, at one of our meetings, Good Side Health gave another virtual presentation. And this is a group of nurse practitioners that provide telehealth visits to students and staff. The way it works is parents and staff members have the option to opt into this service. So it would not be just offered to anybody. The parent would have had to have opted in previously for it to be provided to their student. But if a student comes in, say, and we feel like maybe they've got strep throat, we would have the ability through this service to actually do a strep test there in the office and give that student a telehealth visit with a nurse practitioner. It's a convenience thing. It's to help kiddos who might not make it to the doctor otherwise. Even staff members maybe who it's hard for them to get away to get to see a doctor. I know it's not easy to find a provider always in this climate that we currently have. So it is just another helpful tool out there. Where we are in this process is we just received the contract. Our big brains in the district are reviewing those contracts to see if there are any issues with that. And we'll move forward from there if all that works out well. I also have an individual coming. Our next PLC day, I believe, is April 26th. That afternoon, they're going to present to my nurses and come in person and talk to them and let them know what the process looks like, how it would work. So they'll have a firsthand understanding of how that works. I don't want this to make more work and more burden on my nurses. It's really supposed to help them. Mainly, it's supposed to help students and staff. So, does anybody have any questions about all that I just?
So it's different than the one we talked about
Last month we talked about perhaps looking into having a school-based nurse practitioner on site somewhere in the district that would see staff only. The issue I am discovering with that is finding a provider. Nurse practitioners are hard to find right now. Jeannie could probably talk to us about that. But, it's just, I'm not sure how doable that's going to be. Not that I'm letting that go at all. I'm still going to investigate that and see what we can do. It would be wonderful to have somebody on site somewhere in the district that could help our staff out. But that would be only for staff and not for students. What is the name of the one that you said is for staff and that you just talked about? Before, it's Good Side Health. And it's staff and students? It's staff and students. So we would tell both? Probably not. The thing is about Good Side Health, it's all televisits. If we had a nurse practitioner on site, it would be somebody in person. And potentially what we could do is just take the staff piece out of the Good Side Health and make it just students, if we were to get to a point where we had an on-site nurse practitioner seeing folks, seeing staff members. Does that make sense? Yes.
Is there a cost for that for parents?
What this agency does, once a parent opts into the program, they, Good Side Health will reach out to that parent and get all the insurance information. So they would take care of all the billing and everything from that.
I'm guessing this is just for, it's not mental health at all.
They were talking about starting a mental health component. I would be very careful about that one, just because I feel like we have a lot of things in place right now. Now, if you find out we don't have enough, we can certainly explore that part of things with them. Okay, well, that would take that out then. Yeah. They do offer it, but we don't have to participate in it, so. Okay, Tina, my nurse.
Well, I guess I wasn't here for that meeting. But where would the staff portion take place? Because I could just see our offices getting really busy doing strep tests on staff or flu tests on staff.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And not really taking care of the kids.
Mm-hmm. We would probably have to put some parameters in place, like maybe staff access would be before or after school, something like that. We could definitely talk through that. And that's a good reason to have the representatives from Good Side come talk to you guys, because those are great questions. That would be a great question for them. And I know there are districts we can talk to. A lot of districts are participating in this. We could definitely talk to, you know, other nurses that are actually in clinics and dealing with it every day and see how it works for them. I've gotten some anecdotal information that it's cut down on frequent flyers and things like that. But I would want to talk to somebody myself and, you know, see how it really works. Anything else? All right. Thank you so much. Oh, no, I don't think we have any community involvement updates.
Okay. Well, that concludes the things that we have on our agenda for today. So unless anybody has anything else, I need a motion for us to adjourn. Okay, Becky's going to make the motion for us to adjourn. Do we have a second? Okay. Get that? All right. Okay. I think she's got it. Not she'll snag you in a minute. Okay. I don't imagine we have any opposed, so all in favor? Okay. Thank you very much, and we will see you at the next SHAC meeting, which will be April 19th. All right. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.